Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing not one, but two messages I received from Spirit. One is from Yeshua and the other is from the whales. And I'm also going to share a few personal experiences that I had this week, maybe a little bit of information that came through in sessions that I feel like is also for the collective. And at the end, I will share a spirit animal message, and how that spirit animal came about was very cool and fascinating. And I'll talk about that at the end. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was my husband had been really acting off and feeling off for the past couple weeks. And this happened after one of his friends passed away. And he was really kind of in a little bit of emotional turmoil because they were pretty close. And then it just wasn't really clearing up. And then he kind of felt like he was taking on this person's energy. And so I said, well, do you want to do a session and see what's going on? And so he said yes. And during this session, this friend of his actually came through. And what I saw was this big rope around him. It looked like, you know, those medieval ropes where it's like somebody's like kind of trapped and it's like a grid of thick rope. That's what I saw around him. And I feel like it was a metaphor, and he was telling us he was trapped. So we kind of looked into this, and it looked to be from something he was either involved in through his parents or through a past life, because when he was alive, he would tell my husband that he was having these suppressed memories coming forward of being initiated into this religion. It's called Santeria. And we looked up this religion, and there is kind of a dark side of this religion. And so I want to put protection around us right now. So anyway, we helped him release this binding that he had from this religious initiation. And all of a sudden I saw the ropes falling down, and everything lightened up. And then Yeshua came in, and he started to get his sense of humor back, and said thank you to us, and said a few words to Michael, and afterwards Michael was like, wow, that is really how he talks. Like, he really kind of brought in a little bit of a sense of humor even in dark moments. And as he was leaving, he was saying, wow, I'm getting the royal treatment. So that was another thing like he would have said when he was alive. So it was really cool to have him come in. And then after that, I noticed my husband's whole demeanor just completely changed, and he's doing so much better the last few days after we did that session. So that was interesting. So from doing that session, one of the questions that kind of started rising up in me that I wanted to ask Yeshua was, why aren't these things cleared in between lives? Like, why do we come in with these things that are still binding us? Like, I'm just wondering why they're not cleared before we come into another incarnation. So he goes into that in the channeling today, just briefly. Let's see. Another thing that came through today was in a session, we were told that farmers markets would be popping up, like more and more of them, and that they would be getting bigger. And it seems to me like those farmers will be more supported in the future, and the restrictions on farming and making it so difficult for them to make a living is going to be starting to lift. And then possibly maybe grocery stores will start diminishing as the farmers markets start expanding. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. Another thing I noticed that's happening is something that in my 2024 predictions video, I was shown a chicken and an egg. And the cover of that video, if you want to go back and watch it, there's a painting I did of a chicken. It's a collage. And if you want to go watch that, I think that was telling us of this bird flu that's here now. And I just spent $8 on a dozen eggs this week. And I saw a clip of Jimmy Dore talking about this. And in Canada, they're trying to kill like a whole farm of ostriches for this. And it just really feels very demonic to me. And I just want to play this clip from him really quickly. Hold on here. This will come up. Here we go.
Recent avian flu bulletin, there are 59 poultry farms in British Columbia with active avian flu cases and 180 that have been resolved. So far, almost 8.6 million commercial birds in British Columbia have been destroyed. The virus is not it's not a food safety concern. And there is no evidence to suggest that eating cooked poultry or eggs can transmit the virus to humans. There's been one case of the virus transferring to a human in British Columbia. One. Recent avian flu bulletin, there are 59 poultry farms.
Let me turn that off. So that's interesting. I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. This feels like something that, to me, when I energetically look at this situation, it feels like a planned thing that kind of was being planned last year and then now is hitting us right now. So it just feels very dark, and I'm hoping that we can remedy this situation quickly. And I pray to Spirit that we can stop the culling of these beautiful animals and nip this situation in the bud. So if you could pray for that with me, that would be helpful. So in other news this week, we had T's cabinet picks in a hearing, and it felt like they were really exposing how bought off all these politicians are, who just are extremely, it's just almost like snakes flailing in their last kind of attempt to stop everything that's happening from happening, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop it. And one of the highlights was on Bernie Sanders, and this is a politician that I actually voted for when he was running for president. And I thought it was hilarious how all he had was like this onesie thing that had sort of like anti-vax sentiments on it. And my son was actually in and out of a wheelchair for 4 years from one of these darts. And my mother passed away from turbo cancer last year. So I actually support the onesie. He kept saying, "Do you support the onesie?" And so you have Megyn Kelly behind him just cracking up at how ridiculous this is. And so that kind of like exposed really how bought off that politician and all of these politicians seem to be, as they're just doing everything in their power to try to slander these people and keep them from going into their offices. And then I feel like some of their questions, I feel like if I really looked into it energetically and rephrased their questions, it was like, can you promise us that you're not going to prosecute us for what we've done when you find out all the stuff that we've been doing? So that was a great kind of expose on all of these politicians. So then today I had an interesting experience. I was just in the kitchen with my husband. We were just cooking, and I started singing this song, and it's called Philadelphia Freedom. I didn't even know that was the name of it. And my husband said, "You're singing that song, Philadelphia Freedom." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know I was singing that." So this week, a couple planes went down, and one was in Philadelphia, and then also one caught fire today. So there's a lot of plane stuff going on. So I kind of wanted to ask about that. And then also I saw the Liberty Bell a couple years ago in a vision. And the Liberty Bell is also in Philadelphia. So that was kind of a lot of interesting synchronicities. The next thing that I experienced was we went up to the hot springs, and we stayed up there. So as I was falling asleep, I kept having this whale come in these visions as I was falling asleep, and it kept happening like a couple nights in a row. And then later I was seeing these whales in window displays. It was freezing cold that week, and so I was just walking inside the mall so I could get some exercise going, and there was like 3 different whales that I saw in the mall. It was really weird. And then I noticed that the AI company DeepSeek also has a whale logo. And then I think a couple videos I mentioned Trump was talking about how the whales are beaching themselves and dying from these wind farms. And there's a documentary coming out about this as well, and how these wind farms are actually not as eco-friendly as they seem. And then I also got a message from the water while I was in the springs, and I laid back and closed my eyes, and all of a sudden I just saw water, like the sunlight hitting the water, kind of those shapes that would make. And the water said that its molecular structure would be changing, and that water would be becoming a pretty prevalent mode of healing. I also got the message from the water that hidden water sources would be coming to the surface. And then I got a message from the whales. And so that's what I would like to bring forward first, is this message from the whales. Enjoy. We surround you with our frequency of love at this great time of change and renewal. Some of us are leaving our bodies, some of us are interdimensional, and some of us are staying in physical form in order to assist with holding the light and sending out our frequency, which helps in moving ahead into higher consciousness for all. There are also certain humans who are incarnated at this time, doing much the same thing. Civilizations which were destroyed in the material are still existing in higher dimensions. Some of us are moving from one reality to the next with ease. We are all bringing heaven to earth in our own unique ways. This is how the lost continent of Lemuria is returning and rising once again. As this process ensues, the old must be diminished. We have made it known that there are certain technologies pretending to be eco-friendly that are indeed quite the opposite. And in order to send humanity this message, some of us have chosen to leave our physical bodies in service to the planet and her evolution, as well as the awakening of humanity as to how to move forward, as we have given clues as to what to leave behind. We have organic special abilities, and it is our own technology and sonar communication that the Creator has imbued us with. It is through this technology within our very bodies that we assist in bringing balance through the great waters of the earth. We are extremely intelligent, and we will no longer remain in captive spaces unless we are in recovery from illness or trauma. The concept of caged animals on display will become a thing of the past. Humans and animals will be mingling together in new ways. We will also be communicating together in new ways. We would further like to explain that we live as one with the water, and we communicate with the water's consciousness. Many of you will soon be seeing your own spiritual skills and abilities returning, so that you too will be able to begin to experience this for yourselves. It is a magnificent time to be on Earth as we begin to witness this shift into higher frequencies of remembrance. And so it is, as above, so below, dear friends. We honor you, and we ask that you honor us as we begin to live as one in harmony, love, and balance with Mother Nature and all living things as we return to communion with creation itself. We wish you a good evening with dreams of this new reality coming forward with beauty and peace. Good night, beloveds. Good night. Thank you to the whales. I think what they're saying here is that they have these special abilities that are kind of sending out frequencies that are raising our consciousness and kind of bringing things into balance, but those frequencies that they naturally hold have been disrupted by the frequencies of these this technology that's interfering with the organic frequency that they hold. And I feel that a lot of technology is also interfering with the human's frequency as well. So I'm thinking in the future, those of us who are choosing the organic timeline will be stepping back into these spiritual powers and abilities, and those abilities will be expanding and we'll be experiencing our reality in a whole new way. So that was a really beautiful and powerful message. So the next message comes from Yeshua, and I will bring his message forward now. Enjoy. Greetings. I come forward to share a message of hope and joy. All that is happening now is unfolding at a rapid rate so that the rise of consciousness on the planet can move forward, and a greater number of people may awaken to the inefficiency, corruption, and greed within your many systems and institutions. What was showcased this week in court hearings was the hand of corporate industries moving behind your politicians and pulling their strings. Even beloved leaders thought to be for the people have now been outed for their ties to these sponsors. One can now easily see the interplay between the light and the dark, or those who are beholden to their dark puppet masters and those who want health, transparency, and liberty. But remember, as the hand of these puppet masters are manipulating your leaders, the hand of God is also moving over your nation, so that health, justice, and liberty will eventually win out and ripple out in a global display of transformation. It is the hand behind these corporate and globalist puppets that seek to destroy these things, thus ushering their last fiery attempt to disrupt your food supply, your travel, and your very well-being. Do not fall prey to their attempts to bring your frequency down into fear. The great I Am presence is around you and within you. You are stepping back into your power, your sovereignty, and your spiritual gifts. The song we brought to your mind today is a reminder that even though you are seeing disruption and destruction represented by a plane going down in this area, that there is also a liberty bell in this area, and the sound of freedom will be heard far and wide. The bells of liberation will soon begin to ring, and celebration after celebration will ensue. The liberation of your corrupted systems is coming. The liberation of your food, your energy, your education, your medical, your money and banking, your travel, your entertainment, your speech, your memory, your building and construction, your creativity and innovation, your time, your animals, your taxation, your history, and even your physical body, and the liberation of your consciousness and connection to the divine source creator. A new perspective will be opening to you. A new world is on the horizon as the old world falls away. Do not fear, for what was stolen and what was lost will be restored in miraculous and exciting ways. A liberation from religions that have been corrupted, and freedom from programming and inverted spiritual truths is also coming, as all corruption and greed within religion will be exposed until only universal truth is left and your personal connection to the Most High is amplified. The reason you may carry religious programming or certain religious bindings is because when you incarnate, they may pass down through the physical body from ancestral imprints. Trauma that came in physical form must be healed in the physical form, and this practice of doing your spiritual work and healing brings one closer to spirit when one is in physical form. Religious vows and oaths are binding until one denounces what one has promised. These old oaths may arise as blocks or trapped energy in the body. If one has made a vow of poverty, for example, this can carry over into subsequent lifetimes and must be released. Some may find themselves under the influence of curses should the religious leaders of a sect one was following be involved in service to self or dark magic, creating bindings one may not even be conscious of. And if you look into the sacred texts, I have warned against making these kind of oaths, as it can interfere with the sovereignty of the soul. Now, I would assume that there is no judgment here, as many cycles of time have passed, where we have all engaged in lifetimes of duality. For the earth has indeed been the playground of the ego and the game of learning, all there is to experience, for the expansion of the soul. But now is the time to go over these lifetimes and review what still needs to be released, as you are now moving into higher frequencies and stepping into new chapters and deeper purpose. It is your mission to continue to move forward with flow, grace, and surrender to that great spirit which leads you to the pathway of remembrance. Remembering your true essence and power as sons and daughters of the Most High. Remembering your own spark of divinity. And this is so, as it is happening now. The process has begun, so buckle up, my friends. We are in for a wild ride this year. The roller coaster ride continues. I speak from my headquarters in the north, where my saints gather and huddle for our next moves. We are in the midst of a flurry of revelations. We are in the center of the storm. All is arising in a blizzard of events and information that is now turned from a drip to a waterfall. Enjoy the ride as this waterfall of truth loosens the grip of those who have controlled humanity behind the scenes for centuries. The tsunami of revelations is over you, and it will continue throughout the year, uncovering all that has not been in your best interest. And so it is. I am Yeshua, he who comes with the mighty sword of truth, so that the dove of peace may settle over your lands. Amen and amen. Thank you, Yeshua. So what he's talking about is that it's time for us to kind of go over our life's review and release these old things that are keeping us bound. And I do help people with this in sessions. You can also do this yourself in meditation. Just release anything that is any old oaths, curses, imprints, traumas, anything like that, and just speak it out loud. I believe our words have power. So if you'd like to book a session with me, you can go to redmountainshaman.com and go to my contact page, and you'll get directions on how to contact me and book a session there. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the spirit animal that came forward this week. So on the way down, we went to some hot springs that are about an hour and a half away. And on the way down there, I kind of asked Spirit to give us a spirit animal message. And right before we got to the springs, this beautiful male pheasant with a green neck was right at the side of the road. And there were several female pheasants on the other side of the road. And I said, wow, I was waiting for a spirit animal, and at the last minute he came in. So when we were leaving the hot springs, I accidentally set down my keys while I was grabbing some coffee for the road home. And I didn't realize that I had left him there. And then as we were driving out, I was saying to my husband, I really wish I had one more day. I wanted to go to the other public hot springs that were down the road. And just be able to spend some time there by myself. I was just kind of like telling him like this desire that I had to stay one more day, but we had to go. So when I got home and I realized that my keys were still there, instead of having them send them to me, I was going up in that direction to visit my sister anyway. So I decided to do what I wanted and go back to that hot spring all by myself and grab my keys a few days later over the weekend. So be careful what you wish for, because sometimes things like that can manifest really quickly. So when I was coming home on that second trip to the hot springs by myself, I asked Spirit, I said, well, if that was really a spirit animal for us, for the collective, could you please show me another pheasant on the way home as confirmation? And so as I was driving home, my navigation kind of took me a different way that I normally go, and a huge male colorful pheasant flew right over my car. So I wanted to share the energy of this pheasant spirit animal for us, and it's abundance, transformation, new beginnings, prosperity, rebirth and renewal, which is also connected to the year of the snake energy. Also, adaptability in crucial times of danger or change, courage to face each moment with an open heart, good luck, good fortune, fertility, transformation, creativity and feminine power, freedom, spring and new beginnings. And I've been seeing springtime coming forward in some of my sessions this week. And I do feel that intuitively, like there's some sort of gift coming in the spring. And I was shown like a big box with a bow on it. And I kept asking Yeshua, well, what's the gift? And he said to me, well, think about your parents. What if they told you all of the gifts that you were getting on Christmas? And wouldn't that ruin things for you? And I said, well, yeah, that makes sense. So he's not telling me what the gift or gifts are in the spring, but I feel like there's something coming, and new beginnings is basically the message that I got. Creative outlets and making time to express these passions, and spending time in nature, reinventing oneself, and blooming in spring. So I thought those are really great spirit animal messages of what is coming this year, and I hope you all enjoyed that. If you would like to support this channel, you can go to my website, to my contact page where my PayPal is at redmountainshaman.com, and you can donate there. And thank you so much for those who did send some donations last week. It really helps me out a lot to be able to keep bringing forth these messages, as this channel is not monetized. And also it helps me to press the like button, leave a comment, and also to share with like-minded groups or people so we can share these messages with others, these messages of hope, because I think they're very inspiring in these crucial times of danger and change to like get these messages of, positivity. So they really help me too, and I hope they help you guys. So until next Sunday, I'm sending you all love. Take care.